from a halachic perspective, from maybe not so much of a medical perspective, but in the Jewish community, a lot of talk, a lot of discussion. And for many years, egg donation was something that even if we help out, even if we do, it's something which is hush hush, it's something which is quiet, it's not something which is publicly discussed. And now, fast forward all those years, here we are sitting together in a very public forum. We had more than 150 registrants. People are coming in now, even more people. And you and I know that this topic, the topic of egg donation, is something which is now out in the open. It's being discussed in the frum world, in the Orthodox world, in the halachic world. We've had countless conversations about this, and it is so special to me and to PUA as an organization to have you on this webinar where we can have an open discussion to talk to so many couples about egg donation, about what it looks like, what the process looks like, what the halachas are, the practical, the technical details, which so many people are struggling with and are questioning. So now we have the opportunity to finally publicly discuss these issues, publicly address them, and answer so many questions that all of you have tonight. I want to begin by introducing Talia. You'll hear a little bit about herself and how she began this amazing agency called the Chosen One Egg Donation, which I can tell you firsthand has the largest database of Jewish donors on the market, hands down. There are a few other organizations, a few other agencies, but they do not compare to the size of the Chosen One Egg Bank. It really is a phenomenal feat of success to remember when we met at my house all those years ago, when you were just starting out, and to see how you were now the largest agency. So Talia, first of all, welcome. And it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. And why don't you tell our listenership a little bit about yourself, how you got into a Jewish egg bank, and we'll take it from there. Hold on. Someone said they can't see Talia. Is your video? I see you. Can someone here tell us on the chat whether or not Talia's face is we cannot see? Oh. We can't see Talia. Talia, why don't you turn your video off and then turn it back on again? What about now? Only see Rabbi Siegelman.
Hi.
Oh, now they see you. Oh.
Maybe now?
Okay, go. Talia, you're on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very, very, very excited to be here with you guys. My name is Kastiel-Katz, and I'm the CEO of the Chosen One Egg Donation Agency and Chosen Egg Bank. I started our agency 10 years ago because it took me and my husband a very long time until we have our son, Lavi. He was born by surrogate mother, but the whole process until I was feel okay to take egg donor, it take a long time, and thanks for my rabbi Nachama Duchman from Roosevelt Island when I live in New York. She said to me, I want to take you to the oil, to the Rabbi Melubavitch, and I was so shocked, like, what? Gevrei Tzadikim, not for me. And here I am, 10 years after. I have a son, Lavi, and I have Luna. She's 3 years old. Both of them was born by surrogate mother. It was very important for me to help my community. I start, very small, and I said, I will help 1 or 2 people, but Baruch Hashem, we became a very big agency. We have 5 different locations: New York, Los Angeles, San Diego, Tel Aviv, and Manila, Philippines. We have people we are helping from all over the world. We have a couple of programs. I called you, Rabbi Segelman, 4 years ago in COVID time, and I said, not everyone has so much money to do full cycle. Maybe I will open egg bank, but I want to do kosher egg bank. And you said, yes, Talia, let's do it. And I would love to explain later
We're going to talk about that.
what is kosher egg bank. We have people coming to us from all over the world, from Australia, Canada, Singapore, even 2 months ago, Israel, Europe, South Africa, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. I'm a blessing to help my community, and even more after October 7th. Very proud, and I'm very happy to help my community.
It's an amazing gift and contribution to the Jewish community, especially all of those people that want Jewish eggs. Let's just talk for a minute about Jewish eggs, because people always ask, like, do I need Jewish eggs? What happens if they're not Jewish? Sometimes it's a little bit easy. Sometimes the center that they're working with has an egg bank in-house, and it's very easy. It's very simple. It's a seamless kind of transition from an IVF with their own genetic material. Perhaps they've reached the point where their own genetic material is no longer viable, and the doctor recommends that they go and do egg donation. So it's that kind of it's that seamless next step. You go to the in-house egg bank, but then people call and say, well, can I assume that it's Jewish? I mean, or not Jewish? The answer is you can absolutely not assume that any egg bank is a Jewish egg. But Moshe Feinstein writes about sperm that there is a chazaka, there's a rove that majority of people who are donating genetic material, whether it's egg or sperm, they're not Jewish, especially in America. So you can't assume that any eggs that you get from any bank are Jewish. Now you'll ask, do I really need Jewish eggs? Perhaps I could use the non-Jewish egg, and maybe I'll have some type of conversion after the baby is born. And people always ask, week in and week out. There's no week that goes by that people don't ask us questions about egg donation, specifically about Jewish egg donation. And as I'm sure many of us are familiar with that age-old question of what makes a Jew a Jew. What does it mean to be a Jewish mother and then pass on that Jewish lineage to a child? Is it because the Jewish mother gave over the genetics? She was the genetic contributor, and that contribution of the genetic material allows for there to be a motherly bond between the mother and the son or the daughter. And therefore, if you were to take those eggs and put them in any other gestational carrier, so the Judaism sticks with the genetics, and wherever you place that embryo, that egg, the baby will be Jewish. Or perhaps, like Talia, you mentioned that your children were born through surrogates. Some women are not able to carry their own babies, and they question, well, if I'm not carrying it, if the carrier is not going to be Jewish, perhaps the baby won't be Jewish because the carrier, the woman who hosts the baby, is what determines whether or not a baby is Jewish. And there's a machlokas, like any other good Jewish topic. There's a debate, there's an argument, there's a machlokas. Some poskim are of the opinion that it's the host mother, the gestational carrier, the birth mother, she is the mother. And it really doesn't matter where you get your eggs from. They could be Jewish, non-Jewish, because what matters is the woman who gives birth to the baby. That's what will determine whether or not the baby is Jewish. However, many other poskim disagree, and they say that no, that the egg mother, the woman who contributes the genetic material, there's an actual genetic biological bond between this woman and the woman and the eggs. So that is what creates motherhood. The host mother, the woman who is just carrying the baby and will give birth to the baby, she is like an incubator, but not going to be a contributor, certainly vis-a-vis a family relationship. And because we have this machlokas and we really don't have a final answer, a clear-cut answer, so therefore we have to err on the side of caution. If there's ever a non-Jewish component, a non-Jewish ingredient, whether it's a non-Jewish egg or a non-Jewish carrier, then we do a conversion when the baby is born. If the eggs are Jewish, let's talk tonight about egg donation. Let's talk about a Jewish couple that for whatever reason cannot have their own children with their own genetic material. Her eggs are not viable. she doesn't have eggs, whatever the condition is. So let's take such a woman. If she takes a Jewish egg and she herself is a Jewish woman, so there's no shadow of a doubt that the baby will be Jewish. And that speaks volumes for so many people, knowing that they're not going to have to do a conversion. Not that there's anything wrong with a conversion per se, but that a conversion will not be necessary. Calling a Beis Din will not be necessary. Just going ahead with the process, knowing that my child is absolutely Jewish, is something very comforting to many people. And as I've spoken to many poskim in the past, Shmuel first often says that it's nice to keep our genetics at home in the family. Let's keep our Jewish genetics alive, and not to go out to find a non-Jewish egg and then introduce a non-Jewish egg into our religion and through a conversion. But let's stick true to our pre-existing Jewish genetics. So many people really do prefer Jewish eggs. Now, there's some poskim who question whether or not Jewish eggs is the right answer, because although the baby will be Jewish, but then we have that concern of maybe the children of those eggs, right? The product of those eggs will marry siblings, especially if you have a donor who donates multiple times, and then we have multiple children. They may marry each other, and that could be a forbidden union. So maybe I'll ask you, Talia, but the way that we normally deal with that is that, number one, there is a majority of women who are not donating. Even within the majority of people who donate, even within the people who donate, what are the chances that my child and your child will actually meet and we have the same donor? I mean, what are the chances that my child and another child share the same donor? Even if we both have children through egg donation, it's very unlikely. That being said, we do find Chazal and Yevamis and other Masechtas are concerned for these seemingly far-fetched possibilities. So Tali, maybe you'll explain later when we go through the process, but the intended parents do have some information about the donor. They may not have a name, right? But they have, let's say, a birthday. They'll know a birthday. They'll have some identifying information when it comes to the donor. And then when the time comes, when it comes to match their child with another child, if in fact it turns out that my child is a child of egg donation, and your child is a child of egg donation, then we have to compare our notes. My donor was March 30th. Your donor was November 14th. So you don't have to. We don't have to worry about that.
I just want to say this is correct, and this is why I recommend everyone to use PUA, because when PUA come in to do supervision, they know the donor information and they can have this information. Or I recommend the people to let me to talk with the rabbi, the rabbi, and I'm sending him the donor ID. I'm sending them.
I'm gonna start. Let's hold off. Let's get into the practical, because I just wanted to give some halachic background behind this idea, this concept, and this procedure. So that's really where we stand. That there are some rabbis that still prefer non-Jewish eggs, because then you don't have the issue of siblings marrying, the potential for siblings marrying. If you take a non-Jewish egg, then you don't have to worry about that whatsoever. There will have to be a conversion, and the conversion has to follow the protocols and the rules and the standards of the Beis Din. So not everyone can qualify. It's complicated. But once you're taking a Jewish egg, we have to be familiar with the potential, the dangerous potential outcomes, and you have that identifiable information to see to it that the children are not going to marry. Talia, let's start from the beginning. I have a couple. They just found out that the doctor does not think that they have a chance to have their own children through IVF. She's 45 years old. He's 50. They got married a little bit later. They've been trying to conceive naturally, but they haven't been successful. They did a few rounds of IVF, and the doctor looks at them and says, I'm sorry, I don't think we can go ahead with any more IVF with your own eggs. I think the most prudent step in your journey is to look at egg donation. So they'll call us they'll ask a shaila. Many people don't feel comfortable asking their own rabbanim, or there's sometimes the rabbanim have helped them up until now, but egg donation for some, is a little bit beyond their league, so they'll refer to us. We'll have a conversation and look at their chart and whatnot, and let's say we determine that in fact egg donation is the best choice for them. So they ask, where do we go? What do we do now? How are we supposed to get a Jewish egg? Is it possible to find a Jewish egg? So I'll say, yeah, of course it's possible to find a Jewish egg. Talia is one example of a woman who can hook you up with a Jewish egg. So I'll make a meeting, I'll make an introduction with Talia. And Talia, I'm now going to throw the ball in your court. You have a new couple, or you have a new client that comes, a couple, it looks like they need egg donation. How do you deal with them? How do you guide them? How are you able to help them? Can you walk us through what that process looks like?
Yes, thank you. First, we do Zoom call. I'm meeting the couple. I'm asking a lot of questions. Where you do the process, how many babies you are dreaming to have, because we have a lot of we have 3 different packages: full cycle, fresh egg bank, and frozen egg bank. And I would love to explain as soon what is mean. And I'm asking a lot of questions about Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Tol, and then I'm asking if they feel good and comfortable. I can do share screen. Share screen, I show them how the donor database look like. We have 700 donors. We have 400 Jewish halachically egg donors. And what does it mean halachically for me? All my donors going to Beit Din, and the Beit Din give us certificate. The donor is a Jewish, the donor is a single because it's important. And for me, we have the approval, the donor is a Jewish. Every donor in our donor database have a Jewish certificate from Beit Din.
That's an amazing thing. But that is such an amazing accomplishment that we worked with. We worked with you all these years. But for you to really take it so seriously, and I'll just give a little bit of background to all of our listeners. Suppose a couple wants a Jewish egg. So they'll go to one of these banks, they'll choose a donor. Again, it's all anonymous, right? This is all anonymous. They're not going to know who you are, you're not going to know who they are. So it's anonymous. You choose a donor. Now, the day of the retrieval and transfer comes and you go to the lab. Now, let's say you're doing a fresh transfer, they're doing a retrieval and then whatever it is. Now, you're in different rooms, and the truth is, in many of the labs, on the charts, the name that appears on the charts is actually the name of the intended parent. It's not necessarily the name of the donor. The donor is so anonymous that even maybe in a few of their charts it says their name, but for the most part, when the screens in the lab, it all says the donor, the intended parent's names. So you go in there, you expect you chose a donor, you bought X number of eggs or whatever it is, and then you kind of just hope, right, that the donor that you selected is in fact going to be the donor of the eggs that you received and were then eventually maybe fertilized and transferred. But how do we actually know? How do we actually know? And how do we actually know that that donor is the same donor? The donor that you chose is actually a Jewish donor. After all, if it's all anonymous, how are we supposed to know? Talia looks like a very trustworthy person, but how are we supposed to know? So the answer is twofold. Number one, Talia is a trustworthy person. That's number one. Number two, she doesn't allow us to rely on her. Talia does not allow us to rely on her alone. Talia says, I'm an open book, I'm transparent, you do whatever you need to do and I will obey. And she's been wonderful. And what we've been doing, what we set up and what she is actively, she took the reins and she ran with it. She really did an amazing job. Is that every donor that comes to her, that when the Jewish couple says, we want a Jewish donor, and we want this one seems to fit our family needs. So that donor will be screened by a Beis Din that we have already approved. There's a few Batei Din that Talia uses that we have all approved, very reputable Batei Din. And the Beis Din looks into the authenticity and the identity of that donor. once the Bezdin approves this donor, she's Jewish, she's single, she comes from a kosher lineage. Once the Beit Din approves her as a potential donor, then we get a certificate. I get a certificate that says the donor with her picture and her name, even though the intended parents don't find out that information. But we at PUA, we do have it. And when we send our mashkichot into the lab, our supervisor, our observers into the lab on the day of their retrieval, they're able to check her name with her identification, compare it to the Tu'udah from Beis Din, and make sure that everything matches. Because if we have a Tu'udah from Beis Din that says, that Goldie Schwartz is Jewish, but this woman is, Christina, so very nice that Goldie Schwartz is Jewish, but what about Christina? It doesn't make any sense. So, therefore, the protocols that we have in place and how they've played out just so well in all of our hundreds of retrievals has just proven to be it's just a phenomenal working relationship. So our organization PUA, just a question PUA. So our organization PUA is not only the resource where people turn to us for guidance, for referrals, for halachic questions, but what's so important about the service that PUA offers in this regard is the observation in the lab to be able to compare the Tu'udah from Beis Din with the name of the donor to make sure that the donor that you chose is in fact the correct donor, which is in fact the one that was certified by the Beis Din, and we're all good to go. So that is I think unique. I don't think that we have it. I think you're basically the only one that we do it with such a volume and such transparency that we're really able to see all of those details.
It was very important for me, first, to give people to see the database and to choose the best donor they like and they want. I'm the only egg bank in the world give over 30 pictures, even with a family. I'm the only egg bank and egg donation agency. Every donor have a video. People can see the donor. If they want, they don't want, we can help them to find a good match. When we connect the people to PUA, they have a full profile. They show the mashgichot how and which donor they picked. 2 days before, we call in a PUA supervision and we give them the donor ID, the certificate, a parent's ID. When we want to do it in the kosher and the good a way that will not have any problem, chas v'shalom, in the future. And for me, even when I called you and I asked you, Rabbi Segelman, I want to do egg bank, but let's do it kosher, how we can do it. We have the old donor we freeze. For the 4 years, we have over 100 frozen egg donors. Everyone is sealed by PUA. It means we can do kosher process for people.
Yeah.
It was for me so important to give this for people.
So let's talk now about a couple that comes to you. Now we know that the donors are Jewish. We know that the relationship between the chosen one and PUA is a seamless and reliable one. So now let's talk about how would we guide these couples. Let's assume, again, let's say the case is a 45-year-old woman, a 50-year-old man, and they say to you, listen, we dreamt of 1, maybe 2 children. We're not looking to have a family of 5, family of 7, a family of 10. We have no interest in buying a minivan. We want to stay a sedan family. That's it. Maybe a crossover, but a minivan is not for us. Okay? How would you guide them in terms of different options that they have available in terms of Jewish egg donation?
We have full cycle, of course. People can choose to do full cycle in any clinic in America they want to work with. We are working with everyone and we appreciate everyone. The full package, the full process, the all eggs will be below the recipient. If they want 3, 4, 5 kids, I will recommend them to do a full cycle.
So that's your threshold if you want 2 children? 1 or 2?
2 children is egg bank, and I want to explain about this.
Okay, so once you have 2 children, then you would recommend going to the egg bank, which you'll tell us about. And once they say, no, let's say it's a young couple, 21 years old, both of them, he and her, 21 years old. She has Turner syndrome, so she doesn't have any eggs, but she's looking for a family of 3, 4, 5. She wants a big family. So you would recommend a full cycle. In other words, a woman doing a retrieval, and then she has all of those eggs.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
So what is the difference between the egg bank and the full cycle? What does that look like?
Full cycle, the all eggs will be below their intended parents. They will fertilize the all eggs, and the all embryos will be the embryos. We have fresh egg bank and frozen egg bank. We have many donors in the process right now to our egg bank. People can choose 8 fresh eggs, including fertilization, donor compensation, travel expenses. It's a package that they pay one price. It costs 29,800, and we have guarantee program at least for 2 good blastocysts, usually 3 to 6, 7 embryos. But on this package, they can pay 60% off for full cycle. They will have 1 or 2 babies. They can take 10 or 12 or whatever amount they want, and they can move forward fast. It's going very, very fast. We have frozen egg that we freeze already, and they can ship the eggs to any clinic they want in America or in the world, or we can make fertilization in the lab we are using in Los Angeles and send the embryo to any place in the world. We send it to a lot of places.
Okay, so that was with a couple who wants 1 or 2 children. So you would recommend the egg bank. So then that looks like the 29,000, and that 29 and change. It was 29,800, and that includes at least 8 eggs, right?
Eight mature eggs,
8
including
mature eggs.
including the
Okay,
of the medications, the donors. It's one price.
that's what we call hakol bakol mikol kol.
Correct.
So so they have that. They go ahead with that program. And you said since those eggs are going to be frozen eggs, they're frozen. They're there. They can start their cycle whenever they want. They would have to wait. So how does it work? Do you normally ship let's say those eggs are in Los Angeles and the couple's in New York. So do you normally ship the eggs to New York and then they do the fertilization there? Do you have the sperm come to Los Angeles? What do you see most couples are doing?
Most of the couple want the guarantee program and trust the lab we are freezing the eggs. I think our successful is almost the same like a fresh. It's a frozen egg. It's very sensitive. You can do amazing job, okay job, and this is why I do right now egg bank only in one place for 4 years, because successful is a very important one for me, and I want to give the best for my intended parents. And I always recommend people to create the embryo in the lab we are using and send it to their clinic. But it's not my decision; it's their decision.
Mhm. Now, so that means that looks like, let's say they wanted to do that, they would fly to Los Angeles, produce
No,
the sperm,
no,
or ship the sperm.
we ship from Canada, from Israel, from all over the world. Yeah, it's very easy.
Yeah, and then create the embryos. And then do you find that people are coming to the lab for the transfer there, or they're shipping the embryos?
Most of them ship it.
So they could stay put. Meaning, if I live in Florida, I live in New York, I live in Boston, I can stay put. We can go ahead with purchasing the eggs. Theoretically, if I have frozen sperm or I have my own sperm, ship that to California. The lab will
Right.
thaw the frozen eggs, take the sperm and fertilize, and then refreeze as embryos.
Correct.
Okay, and so now when those 8 mature eggs, um, um, those 8 mature eggs. So do you know like how many of them will actually be mature embryos after?
It's not mature embryos, it's mature eggs. When we turn eggs, 8, I want him to be 8 mature eggs and fertilize 8. It depends the lab, you know. So it's not only about frozen egg, it's puzzle, okay? It's the eggs, it's the quality of the sperm, it's the laboratory, it's the simulation,
Oh,
it's
100%.
eggs. But we see, let's say 95% towing, let's say people take 10. Most of the time we see 10 fertilization.
Okay.
But the eggs,
That's very
but
high. It's very nice.
For the egg bank, I'm taking only the best donor I have, the best by fertility, by the AMH, donor that have a good amount of eggs, donor that educated, donor that beautiful. And later I have surprise here for you. I would love to share this surprise with everyone.
We'll share the we're gonna share the surprise soon. So okay, now then once those embryos were created in Los Angeles, but again, I live in Boston, I live in New York, I live in Florida, so we're able to ship those embryos cross country to the lab that I'm comfortable with, and then my doctor, then I just go ahead with my doctor, going ahead with the cycle as a transfer, like I have my own eggs in the bank, like my own eggs in the lab.
Yeah, but people choosing to send eggs as well. It's not my choice. People can do whatever they feel comfortable, what they doctor recommend, what they wish. I'm here to help. That's it.
And this is a very interesting question that just came in terms of the embryos that are created. So are those tested? Are those PGT screened? That do they do the PGT screening in that lab? Is it mandatory? Is it only if the patient wants it?
Most of the people do PGT testing, but it's not my decision. It depends the doctor recommendation. Some doctors said we don't need to do it. Some doctors said yes. I will leave it for the doctor to take decision with the intended parents.
If a patient wants to do the PGT, is that an additional price? Is that an additional fee?
Yes,
So that's not included in the 29.8.
Not everyone do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
not everyone do that. My job is to create good embryos for them. And their job to do it or not, because I find out a lot of religious people don't want to touch the baby or don't want to do anything. But again, it's not my decision.
Yeah, it's a good question for a different webinar. Let's shift over to a young couple, 21 years old. They got married. She knows that she has Turner syndrome. She knows that she doesn't have any eggs, and that if her only chance of having a family is getting pregnant is using a donor egg. So she meets with you and she says, my dream is to have 10 children. I don't know if I'm going to have 10 children, but I would like a large family. So what does that look like? And tell us, because that seems like that's going to be a full cycle. So so how does that look like in terms of picking a donor? Because the egg bank, the eggs they're already frozen. If we're doing a full cycle, is that also a bank, or is that a full cycle, a fresh cycle, a woman coming in, doing another retrieval and then getting those eggs? So can you walk us through that process, please?
Yeah, full fresh cycle, it's totally different process. It takes more time, 3 to 4 months. The people need to tell me which clinic they are working. I'm sending the clinic the matching sheet, full profile. If the donor is approved, I'm sending them the genetic, the blood work. I send them how many eggs we received, how many embryos we created, how many PGT, if we have pregnancy or not. We will send them the all information. Every clinic working different. For example, I have right now clinic in New York City. They want the donor to fly one day to do screening. I said, I'm working for 10 years. I never did it before. Like, I'm doing everything in Israel. If you want donor from Israel, we do everything in Israel. This is the record. No, this is our protocol. I'm here to help. I'm here to do whatever the clinic wants me to do. Regarding the timeline, it's 3 to 4 months. The process take more time. We will do agreement between the family and on the donor. We open escrow account. We need to make flight, hotel, food, cup for the donors. Psychology, genetic assessment. It's much more longer. And it depends how the clinic want to do it, because some clinic have their own psychology, or some clinic we need to do it and provide it. Some clinic have their own insurance for donor complication, and some donor we need to do it. It's different for every clinic. We need to know what they look.
So Tali, you just threw a lot of information at me, and I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed. So, but is all of those things that you mentioned, are those all the responsibility of the intended parent, or does your agency take care of, like, help us through that? In other words, you saw genetic compatibility, which is very important. It's like doing genetic screening before a chassan and kala get married. So similarly, even though they're not marrying our donor, but we need to make sure that the sperm and the donor eggs are compatible, that neither of them are carrying an autosomal recessive gene that would create some type of genetic issue or abnormality in the child, chas v'shalom. So is that something that is that something that we have to worry about as the intended parent, or is that something that you facilitate? Is that what else did you mention? The therapy, psychology, the psychological evaluation for an intended parent. That generally in America, when we do third-party reproduction, whether it's sperm donation or egg donation or surrogacy, so there's an expectation that the intended parents have a session with a therapist or a psychologist to make sure that we understand the ramifications of what we're going to do. So is that something that we have to find our own therapist, or is that something that you help the intended parent?
Rabbi Segelman, we do everything for them. A to Z. People don't know what to accept, what is the process. We do everything for them.
So what does that mean? What does it mean you do everything? Tell us a little bit about that.
We contact the donor, we contact the clinic, we connect between them. She needs to do screening, which screening they want, which genetic testing they want, because they are different genetic kit.
Different panels. Yeah.
Panels. We send the donor to do psychology, we send the donor to do genetic assessment, we send introduction to lawyers, they need to sign the agreement between them, we make the flight, the hotel, the food, the car, everything for the donors. We make sure the donor going and do what the clinic want. The first injection, I'm always with the donor and do the video to see if she do it well. Most of my team or me flying, and I'm going next week to New York. I have 7 donors there retrieval. I'm going to the lab, I see with the donor. My job, and I'm working 14 hours a day, my job is to make sure those people will have a baby. Those people will go fast and good and successful process. And 14 hours a day, every day, almost every day, to make this dream for people, to make supporting my donors, to make them to feel I'm there. I love him. I'm loving him like I'm their family. I appreciate them. My donors, they are so amazing. They are educated donors. They are beautiful. They are smart. It's not like a donor for the street. It's
yeah. You know, Talia, I'll tell you, I'll share with you something that people are legitimately concerned about. We get calls all the time about this, and very often, you know, I know me, my wife knows who she is. We know what the genetics are. We know our family background. We know, what we're getting ourselves into. And then when you have a child, so you know that half of the genetics are going to come from me, half of the genetics are going to come from her, and we know who the players are. When you introduce another genetic contributor, okay, when you introduce another egg, so that's a whole set of genetics that we have no idea who this person is. We don't know what their upbringing was like. We don't know where they're from, what their habits are, what their interests. There's so much unknown, and that could really, really torment a person, and just that could be something so challenging for a couple to, hurdle for them to overcome. I think that what we should do now at this segment is twofold. Is to, number one, express and to really tell the listeners that the donors that you choose are not people who are sick with any mental health issue, sick with any serious medical issue. They're not people who are just looking for some extra cash, but they are people who are successful, people who are achievers, and very often they're people who, in a very altruistic way, want to help the Jewish people. They want to help grow the Jewish people, and knowing that there are Jewish couples that are unable to conceive because they don't have their own eggs, it would be an honor for me, and I'm speaking on behalf of many of the donors, to be able to contribute my genetic material to allow for another Jewish couple to have a baby. Is that what you find with your donors?
This is you touch a point that I'm so sensitive. When people are talking with me or going to our donor database, they know so much about the donor. Eye color, hair color, blood type, religion, education, location. They see members' health. They see what they work in, what she like to eat, to read, to do. They see 30 pictures, over 30 pictures, sometimes picture with family. They see video. They see so much information. And I'm not going to choose their future genetic child. They're going to tell me what they want for 400 donors. I think it's a big privilege to give them to choose the best donor they want and to see the all information.
Natalia, I think we should stop right here because I think what we should do now is surprise our listeners here, our viewers, and I think that we should bring a very special young woman into our webinar so that people can see what a donor looks like, who a donor is, and hold on, and here she is, donor 1362. This is a very special opportunity that we have to welcome donor 1362. And I just, I really am just so thankful that you're here to join us. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
For sure. I'm happy to be here also. Shalom lekulam.
Hello. Shalom. So you're Jewish. Sounds like you're from Israel.
Yeah.
How did you find your way to our PUA webinar? How did you get here? How can you please explain to us what you're doing here? How did you become a donor? How do you know Talia? Give us and all of our viewers here a little bit of background and walk us through the process. What does it look like to be a donor, and why would you do such a thing? How did what inspired you to go ahead and do this whole process? Give us a little bit of background.
I would love that, and it's kind of long story. It's okay if I will start with a little background about myself. So
we don't have so much time because
okay. I have met Talia because I'm looking for a place that I can donate my egg as a mitzvah. It's very important for me that the Jewish community will continue, especially now after everything happening in October 7th. And I did it because I really believe in my bottom of my heart when you do something good. I'm sorry for my English. My mother language is Hebrew, so I'm a bit excited. And
your English is perfect.
Thank you very much. So I hope everything is understood. But I did it because of the mitzvah, and it's very important for me that Am Israel, that our Am will continue and grow, and I did it for the mitzvah and to donate to the Jewish people, to the Jewish community.
So you really felt that you wanted to do this because it's a mitzvah.
Exactly, yeah.
Now where do you live?
I live in Israel. I grew up in Israel. I born in Israel. I have a master degree from a private university. My BA is in accounting and economy. I'm accountant. I work in the biggest company in the world, Deloitte. I work in a very successful position there. I just finished my master degree, also from private university. I study in a gifted class for my whole life. I danced professionally when I was young. I served in the army, in the intelligence unit. I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the mitzvah. I did it because I believe when you do something good, good come back to you. And I wanted to do something good for the Jewish community. And when I just, I was going to the doctor, and my doctor told me, you are very fertility, and you can maybe donate egg. And she gave me Talia and Yorin, her husband. She gave me the number, and they talked to me, and they explained me about the whole process. And I can tell you that donor I'm so sorry. I'm so excited because when I talk about them, they are such an incredible people. It's not something that you see every day. They are so caring and loving. And I actually donate twice my eggs because I had an amazing experience because of them. I did a lot of tests and a lot of exams,
Mhm.
and they took care of me until the every detail, really every detail. They were there for me 24 hours a day. They just like my family, you know. I'm really excited. When Talia asked me to be here, I said, of course, because this was the whole purpose I did it from the first place, because I want to help other Jewish couples to have babies. So of course I would love to be here, and I would love to show you that we are people just like you. We just want the Jewish community to be bigger and strong, and Am Yisrael Chai.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Am Yisrael Chai, speaking of Am Yisrael Chai, you know, first of all, we thank you so much for joining us. And
My pleasure.
and speaking of Am Yisrael Chai, Talia told me a story about you, about how you were in America recently. Can you tell us the story? Tell everyone here, and this is recorded, it's going to be blasted all over the world. It's probably going to be one of the top hits on YouTube, you know, in the entire world. So if you could tell us the story of the October 7th story.
Yeah, actually, I started talking to Talia in this whole process for the donation. It took time because we have a lot of exams and process that we should go. And I was supposed to go in October, just a bit after October 7, and I'm sorry to be like this, but I got my period. I called to Talia and I told her I got my period. I'm supposed to start taking pills. And she told me, no, you know what? Don't take pills. Come to me right now. We will start the process right now. I will fly. I will order you the flights to Los Angeles. Just start the process tomorrow. And I told her I don't know what to do. I have tickets to a festival. I really wanted to go. All my friends are supposed to go. And she told me, I will pay for the festival. Don't worry about it. Just come here, start the process. It's better for you to not take any pills. Just come here, trust me, everything will be okay. And I did. And a couple of days later was October 7th, and this festival was Nova Festival. And Talia saved my life from the Nova Festival because I was supposed to be there. And this is why I came to this second cycle, because I really believe that Hashem was watching after me. And when I did something good for other people, He saved my life. And I not going to those festivals ever. It was just supposed to be for friends that supposed to get married. We was going there to celebrate for him. And I think because I did something good, God, Hashem, saved my life. And this is why I wanted to do a second cycle, because I feel blessed. Talia is my angel, and she's doing so good for other people. And it's not only my story. I met a lot of other donors here in the process, in the clinic, and we talk to each other. Everyone's saying that Talia and Yorin are something special. It's not a regular donation egg agency. They're looking for us. The most important thing for them is us to be healthy and happy, and we feel good, like from every aspect. And she let us talk with women that gave birth because of this process, and we understood the mission that we have and the fact that we actually can help Jewish couple to become parents. And I think it's the most incredible gift that we can give to the world. So thank you so much, Talia, for everything that you are doing. And thank you, Rabbi.
Wow, you
Yeah.
successfully made me cry on a Kura webinar. I am very impressed with you. Wow, it's shocking. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. And may Hashem continue to bless you in your life. And may Hashem recognize and acknowledge, of course, all of the chesed that you're doing for Am Yisrael. And may Hashem pay that back. The kiflei kiflayim. Hashem should continue to bless you and your entire family.
Toda
With
Amen.
only bracha and amazing things. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talia, that was incredible. That was really incredible. And this is, I can just tell you because this is the first time I'm meeting her, but I have met other donors personally in the labs. And it seems like it's one and the same. They're cut from the same cloth. That they all share that genuine desire to give back to the Jewish community, to really do an amazing chesed. That who else is doing such a chesed? Who else is doing such a chesed? I want to wrap it up because I want to be respectful of the time. A lot of interesting questions have come in, and but I think people want to know a little bit on a practical level. So, in terms of time, so the time frame, the time window of the egg bank versus the time window of the full cycle. So the time window for a bank is immediate.
If it's frozen bank, it's immediately. If it's fresh egg bank, people waiting for the donor to fly, it can take 1 week, 3 weeks. It's about a month process.
Okay.
Full cycle, it depends the clinic, not me. It's about three months, 3 months process, maybe 4 sometimes, or maybe 2, depends the clinic, how fast they are, and if we have the old testing for the donor. If she's proven donor, it's take more fast. It's like more fast.
They went through the process already. Another question that came in, let's say the parents do not want to have any interaction with the donor. I mean, this donor was just wonderful, but and they're all wonderful. But for what, from a psychological perspective, I think that people would much rather, some people would not want to know who their donor is. They don't want to meet their donor. They don't want the donor knowing who the child is. They kind of want a separation. So is there, can the donors, can the couples can they rest assured that they're not going to get any knocks on the doors down the line in 20 years from now? Hey, remember 20 years ago you did the egg donation? That was my egg. I mean,
Bye-bye. It's anonymous process. The agreement is anonymous. I'm not allowed to do open donation. We have some people asking. I'm not allowed to do any open donation. Those young girls, they are coming to make a mitzvah and they want to move forward in their life. In 20 years, I don't want anyone to knock on the door and say, hello, you are my donor. She's going to have her own kids, her own husband, her own family. I'm not allowed to do it in my agency. No one, it's a very anonymous process. Full cycle, egg bank, it doesn't matter, only anonymous process.
Someone just asked a question about the donors being single or married. So that donor was single, correct? The one who
we cannot do process with married girl. Only with single.
Single women.
It's a problem with halachot, mamzer, and no, we're taking only donor that not married.
So someone asked a question about 23andMe. Now that there's the DNA testing, so what can we do with
before we start the process? I recommend my donor to never do it. Never to do any testing, genetic testing for 23andMe or any company.
And if let's say they already have, is that something that we inform the intended parents?
Rabbi Segelman, the donor are more scared for the intended parents. You need to understand this. They don't want to take any responsibility about anyone. They just want to give a blood work or any genetic. It takes 2 weeks. They don't want to take any responsibility about anyone. They're not there. They just want to help and to move forward with their life.
And got a question about age limits. This is somewhat of a legal issue, but how old is a couple? Is there a maximum age of how old a couple can be before, when doing such a process? Is it too?
Yes, ASRM recommendation is, I think, in 52. I'm not sure.
52, 53, something like that. Yeah.
53. Donor is between 20 to 30, 31 years old.
Right. The donors are always going to be younger, right? And in terms of the age of the intended parents, usually around the low 50s, right? And then they also have to go through certain screening. They have to go through certain screening to make sure that they're healthy to host a pregnancy.
Rabbi, with so many young 20 years old couple and 30 years old couple, we help everyone. Everyone have their own problem. We help any Jewish couple on this world. I want to help anyone. I want to make sure they are in a good hand. The donor is good. The donor is educated. The donor is know what to do, how to do, to be in the time in the clinic, to take her medication, and to hug the donor and to hug them. And I have calls in midnight, and I live in this agency. I am blessing for the God to be a shlichim for shaliach for my community. It's not only job for me. It's much more than that. It's my world. It's my it is. It's I don't know how to express my feeling right now. I'm a blessing for the God to help my community and to make a life people. I think it's a big opportunity to serve my community and the people.
Do you know how many Jewish babies have been born through the Chosen One egg donation?
Well, a lot. Not everyone share with us. I'll be honest.
Right. I know.
People moving forward. I see them sometime in the street. I'm like smiling, passing. But not everyone share, and I respect everyone. My job is to create good embryos for them. If they want to send me picture, good. I have many people send me pictures, but I'm not calling or asking what's going on.
Very nice. Okay. Is there any last message that you want to share with all of the listeners? There's many people who are considering egg donation, are in the process of egg donation, will eventually have to get there, may get there. What message would you give to all of those people who are watching this show tonight?
Wow. Love is a love. We have many donors that can be good for you. I really believe Judaism comes for our generation and who we are. We have, of course, non-Jewish donors as well, but we are focused for Jewish. Believe, ask help. We're here to help. Just contact me. Even if you don't move forward, it's a free consultation. Even 2, even 3, whatever you want. I have people coming after 6 years, after a couple of years. We are not rushing. We are not calling or send messages. I'm helping one time. If people want to move forward, I'm here to help. Believe, don't talk about this. Call Pua, call Rabbi Segelman and all amazing team for Pua, or Beidin we are working with. Yashar Koach, Am Yisrael Chai. I can say for 2 weeks I could work after October 7th, and I want to close the agency. I said, I'm walking for a couple of hours. They kill maybe half, or I don't know how much people from my community, my religion, and I was empty motivated. And one of the rabbis, Rabbi Yulman, called me and said, Talia, this is the time to make more and more and more. Don't give up. And I said, you know what? You are right. And I go to my Facebook and I said, on any Jewish a baby or people you killed, I will make 10 more. I'm going to help my community. I'm going to make it bigger and successful. And I hope I will be your shalichim, your shaliach, or every family.
Ezra Hashem, thank you so much for joining us. There are people who are asking for your contact information. Are you able to put it into the chat? Talia, can you access the chat and see where it says two? If you just switch it to everyone, you see that or no?
No. Okay, yeah, everyone.
So click everyone, and if you could type your email address or whatever mode of communication you prefer. I'm going to send my email address as well. Okay, Talia at tcoeggdonation.com. I'm E. Siegelman at poorfertility.org. Thank you so much, Talia, for joining us tonight. I hope this webinar was informative. I hope that people who are here have a better sense of what the process looks like. Some of the halachic discussion around this whole parsha, this whole sugya, this whole very, very complicated journey. But thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we thank Hashem that we have an address in the Jewish community where we can turn to. We have a partnership with PUA, with Batei Din throughout the world, ensuring that the donors are in fact Jewish, with the supervision in the labs to make sure that those are in fact the donors, and to see to it that we can continue to grow Am Yisrael, the Jewish people. It is an honor to be with you again, Talia, on this webinar. Looking forward to our next discussion. And to all of you, please feel free to reach out to myself, to Talia, to the respective organizations, if we can help you. No one's doing this alone. We're here for you. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you so much, and good night.
Okay.